I actually took an acting class because I used to be shy, which I still can be, but I took this acting class thinking, well, maybe, but I knew when I took the class there was no way. I'm not outgoing like that, and I knew that acting was not my forte and that I was not interested in even pursuing it. I'd like to do something kind of behind the scenes in that realm maybe, but not directing or anything like that, but you know. So, but yeah, that was one of my questions. No. Actually.
We brought up Europe, Rain. You did bring up Europe, and it's amazing because there was I was sitting down with Ben Folds actually for an interview, and he spoke about when he was in Ireland and England. Well, and he said people would just get up and start singing. You know, it'd be open mic, be karaoke, it'll be live concert. Doesn't matter where you're at, but those people would engage regardless of their voice, regardless of their talent. I mean, some people just get up on stage and start playing at some of these.
Listen, nobody knew who I was when I went to go sing in the UK jazz music. I made an album there. Do you know what? My shows were sold out. Nobody knew who I was. They were always sold out because people wanted to go out and hear music.
Wow.
They were like, oh, we don't even know who you are, but this is fantastic. We even bought your album. We went to your little thing at the little shop, and we went and blah, blah, and I was like, whoa, like culture. And, you know, like you set up a gig in New York to try to sing, and you're lucky if you get 10 people.
That's the greatest team ever. Yeah.
Right. You know? So there's like a hunger for the arts there. And the open mics there are the bomb. Like when Ben Folds was right. Like you go and the open mics are the most incredible experience, and they go on for hours, and it's a jam session, and then you're meeting new people and you're creating new things, and it's just, you know, constant. And that's kind of how I felt about the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. When I went there for the first time and did my show, and I saw the difference in stand-up comedians that you don't see in the U.S. It was like these are guys that are hanging out until 4 o'clock in the morning, and they're creating with each other, and they're saying, you know what, when you did that one bit in your act, you really should be doing this. And no one's saying, like, okay, now give me $5,000 for that joke.
Right.
They're helping each other because it's also sharpening their skills as writers and thinkers. And so it became this group that, like, you know, hung out, which was like Paul Provenza and the Brendan Burns and Tim Minchin, who's now, you know, part of Matilda on Broadway and, you know, and famous. But these guys are always hanging out going, oh, I saw this, and what about this, and your act, and blah, 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 blah. And it's beautiful. It's the most awesome experience.
And we call that networking.
Right. You know.
That's the best type of networking, actually.
Right, exactly.
I'm actually curious if you always wanted to wear all 4 hats as an actress, writer, producer, director, or did the actress come first, followed by the rest, or did you have other things kind of? You know what?
I just wanted to act and sing. I mean, that's really, and on stage, you know, do musicals. That's all I ever wanted to do. And then the directing thing kind of fell in my lap, literally, like, fell in my lap. Someone said, hey, will you direct a show? And I was like, okay. And then it just was one of those things that I ended up realizing I really love actors, and I love the art of truth-telling. And it's my responsibility as a director to help you find what that truth is.
Mhm. Wow.
And I love it.
Yeah. You see, I can tell you love all of it, and it makes us engrossed in what you do just because of that.
Right on.
That's why I really want to see your
came
show.
Out. The total geeky dork just came out. I was like, golly, thanks.
Well, Sabine and I are just going to fight over who's going to ask you the next question on Skype right now.
Yeah,
anyway,
really?
You just have such great energy, and you know what I mean? It's
thanks.
It's fantastic. It is.
I'm actually, I've got to admit to this, I am a huge Head of the Class fan, and I wanted to know what it was like on that show, working with Howard Hessman, and that was one of my favorite shows growing up.
You know what? He was amazing to me. He really was really kind and nice to me, and he said, you just keep doing what you're doing, because he knew I walked into for me, I walked into a situation that already existed with rumors that I was there to replace, and that wasn't the case. And he knew what I was up against. He knew what I was going to have to deal with, and he kind of took me off and said, this is what you're going to have to face, and keep doing what you're doing. And so he was actually lovely, and I'll never forget that. And then Billy Connolly was the same way. He was just warm and loved what he was doing.
Oh, I love Billy Connolly. He is a hilarious man.
He is.
Cracks me up. And yeah, that was one of my favorite shows. So
and look, anytime a Scottish man opens his mouth, you're gonna laugh. One, you don't understand what the heck they're trying to say, right? You don't know what the heck the man's trying to say. And then he makes talking about kids vomit funny. It's like, he's just that guy.
I've got to say, I have a talent for actually understanding different accents like that. I think it comes from the fact that my grandmother is from London. So this is the same. This is the woman who married my grandfather, who was the Jewish man. So she's Episcopalian, and he was Jewish. So yeah, we've got a little bit of that going on in our family.
Wow, that's awesome.
But I really loved hearing that about Howard Hessman, and I actually got to meet him at Dragon Con one year here in Atlanta. So, and he was really nice and gracious. So that was a thrill because, again, like I said, one of my favorite shows. So, now going back to your dad a little bit, how did he feel about you following in his footsteps with acting?
He wanted it. I mean, both my parents knew this is what I was going to do. I grew up in an entertainment family. There weren't doctors and lawyers. Mm-hmm. Everyone was in show business except for my aunt, who became a diamond jeweler. Like, that was it. So entertainment is really all I knew, and I definitely don't think my dad wanted me to go into the other family business, which was owning a brothel and prostitution. So I really think acting was the better choice. I think he was like, yeah, go into acting. That's safe.
Anything other than that?
You'll be great over there. Yeah, don't do what your great grandma. No, don't do what your great grandma did.
Rain, when you're thinking, and just speaking off of your dad, is there anything that when you were younger and he said it to you and you just were like, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard, and then maybe 20, 30 years later you were just like, wow, that makes a ton of sense? Have you ever had those moments in your life, recently in the last decade?
I would just say the fact that he was like, just be honest. He goes, they're going to shoot you anyway, so just be honest.
I mean, he's just that cut and dry.
Yeah, because that's how he was. He was one of those two. He was so freaking moody. One day he would say he loved his kids. Like 3 months later, you would hear like, oh, I can't stand them kids. Then like 2 months later, he'd be like, I love them. I can't believe I ever had such amazing children. And you're like, whatever, because he spoke his truth at the moment.
So he really did live in the moment.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because the truth is, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So you might as well just do.
There's such a lack of fear in that. There's such a complete distance of fear in that statement.
I think it's both. Like, again, here comes the psychologist in me, right?
Go
There's
ahead. Break it down.
this is so fearless aspect that we look at on the outside and go, oh, he was, and then there's they're going to probably bail anyway. So let me at least put it out there for them to at least have the excuse to bail, but at least it's out there, if that makes sense. So there's fear and there's still no fear.
The way you put that, it does make a lot of sense because you made it sound like it was a release and just like, look, it's out there now. I'm not holding it in. I'm not, keeping it from people. It's just there. You again, it kind of goes back to the empowering thing. You do with it what you choose.
Right.
And it seemed, I don't know, it seemed like so many people were afraid of your dad maybe, and all that they were afraid of was thinking for themselves.
The man was on the FBI list. Of course, I'm surprised. I'm sure I have an FBI file just for the fact that I was part of his firm. you know. I'm sure
yeah.
You know what I mean? They were like, uh-oh, there's another Pryor in the world. Oh, there's 6 of them. We'll all have our own little file.
They're Jewish and black. Look out.
Yeah, look out. Ooh, that's in trouble. I hope she's not running for office anytime soon, you know. That'll really screw up America. Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I get with laughing so much. Sometimes I just get off topic. I don't know where we're going, but I appreciate the levity that you bring. I mean, I was telling people, and I've seen some of your work, and just there are very few people in this world that put themselves into everything that they do, and you really. You generate a source of energy that just, whether it was head of the class or whether it's fried-chicken-and-latkes or whether it's you on stage or you giving a speech or even the psychologist came out in that small clip that you had on the website for the play. You know, how do you generate this energy to keep, you know, progressing and keep growing as an artist after all of these years?
I don't know. I mean, that's the truth. I don't know. That's where I go. I just think that's in me.
That's just who you are.
Yeah. At that point, I just have to say, I think that's just who I am, and it's always kind of how I've been. I don't know any other way.
Wow, so you know yourself. You totally know yourself.
Yeah, some moments, I wonder, like, what the heck? But yeah, I do know I do. Maybe, too, because now I'm a mom, I know myself more because I see her. I see my daughter in my eyes. Do you know what I mean? And I mean me in her eyes, and it's a trip.
What's that? Now, do you ever go back to do you ever become your dad in those situations, or just are you thankful that okay, maybe I've got a different environment that I wasn't raised in that I can at least help her with? What's that experience?
Well, the environment is different. I mean, look, there are no prostitutes, there's no drugs around my little girl.
I believe you.
So she has 2 parents, although we're not married and together, but she has 2 parents who definitely still care about each other enough to care for her, and so that's what it's a different. She's growing up in a completely different way, and also in a different social time. On top of it.
What do you think the differences are? Maybe because you can compare, 60s and 70s. There's differences, but maybe there are more similarities than we're looking at. I don't know. Do you? Because I look at race and then I see, kind of the situation with heterosexual, homosexual, and those sorts of arguments, and it really does. I don't know. It seems that even with the play, there's a lot of perspective to be gained from your experiences and those of the people around you.
I'll tell you, I don't know what the heck I'm doing being a mother. It's day to day. The script flips. Once I think I got it, something new pops up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like today, out of the clear blue, she goes, she's asking me again. If she said, Mommy, she goes, if my body is your body, is my body also Daddy's body? And I said, yes. And she goes, well, then how did I get this body? And I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, Mommy and Daddy, made you. There's this stuff, it's called DNA. And she was like, yeah, but she goes, when I was in your stomach, how did I get there? And I said, when you're older, Lotus. She goes, why is everything when I'm older?
She got metaphysical on you. That's crazy.
Totally, wow. Right? And I was like, wow. Exactly. And I'm like, you're 5. Shut up.
Wow.
Go back to being
only
5. Yeah.
Oh,
just
wait till she gets older.
Right, exactly. I swear, chastity belts are making a comeback. I just want to tell the parents that.
Oh my goodness, you definitely have a great talent in all areas and are so much fun. We could go on for hours, but I know we got to start wrapping up.
I know. I got things to do.
Be that time. But I did want to make sure to point out to everybody, you can follow Rain at rain-pryor, and you can follow her, the fried-chicken-and-latkes. It's at fried-chicken-l, and then on Twitter, both on Twitter. And you can like the Facebook page for her fried chicken and latkes. If you just type fried chicken and latkes, comma, it'll come up, and you'll be able to like her page. I've